You have seen the brands on every bar, pub shelf and even in the supermarket. Johnnie Walker, Crown Royal, Bulleit Bourbon, Talisker, Lagavulin, and beyond whiskey you have Guinness, Smirnoff, Captain Morgan's and many, many more. So with such a giant umbrella, you probably have one of their bottles on your shelves, but things are not all rainbows and sunshine. There is certainly a gloomy side appearing for this titan, having knock-on effects to me and you and the people who buy the bottles. So join me, Jeff Whisky, possibly the slappiest reviewer on YouTube, and let's dive into the highly over-dramatic debate and discuss the downfall of Diageo.
Jeff Whisky.
Yes, I'm once again attempting to cover something that's beyond the joy of whiskey. A bit more nitty gritty, something to sink my teeth into and have a good ramble. It's almost a part 2 of my Whiskey Loch video, a well delayed follow up. And yes, I'm aware these are not the normal shades. The lights aren't on behind me. I'm currently in the process of moving everything into a new setup. But with this one, I wanted to hit the ground hard because on the 1st of April, Diageo is now trading at an 8-year low.
That doesn't sound good.
Down 32% on the FTSE 100, leading to a lack of confidence in investors and low spirits. Can't resist a pun. I will also state that I'm not a finance bro, and while I've tried to do as much research as my little brain can handle, let me know down in the comments if I've missed anything.
I had to stop watching Wolf of Wall Street and had to start living it. Come on. Nice, nice, nice. Hey, green means good, right?
So firstly, let's cover who Diageo are. Whiskey nerds and alcoholic purists can skip this, but you may miss out on one or two mildly entertaining attempts at jokes.
Disclaimer. There is no guarantee that anything said on this channel could be considered to be mildly entertaining.
Starting from a merger in 1997 between Grand Metropolitan and Guinness, it is now a massive multinational alcoholic beverages company owning more than 200 brands across spirits and beer. I won't list them all out, even though it would pad out this video.
Diageo is a lot of stuff, like a lot. Look at all these, this is a lot. This is not even all of them. I just took this off Wikipedia.
But you've got the classic malts of Scotland collection, which you often see on like pub shelves. So you've got Glenkinchie, Dalwhinnie, Cragganmore, Oban, Talisker and Lagavulin, as well as overlooked workhorses like Kalila, providing a huge chunk of Islay whiskey to independent bottlers. And beyond Scotch there is Bulleit Bourbon, Crown Royal, as well as owning big blending names of Buchanan, Black and White and of course Johnnie Walker. So with so many fingers and so many whiskies, surely things can only be grand, right?
Right.
While beside the numbers that could be found online with dropping sales figures and stock dips, it is also reflected in the distilleries themselves. The Lebanon distillery, which supports production of Bulleit, has paused production, and they've also closed Chase Distillery, an English distillery which they've now moved all production to Cambridge. So what took this Goliath down? Well, let's not be dramatic. What was the cause of an arrow to the knee for Diageo? And according to Diageo themselves, in 2024 they blamed the dip of Scotch sales by 10% on the lack of demand for premium products in Latin America and the Caribbean, stating that some of their inventory was more premium than what the market really was. And when you have about 14 different varieties of a very pricey premium marketed blue label, it's hard to argue against that.
We want the premium stuff, the blue label.
There are 3 factors which show that this is not just a temporary blip, and there really needs to be a lot of adaptation to keep Diageo striding. The biggest one, which is coming more and more apparent, is people are less interested in alcohol. I know, right? You may see herds of us on YouTube, Instagram and TikTok spending huge chunks of our time talking about booze, but we're just a shrinking bubble of evangelists chatting to a decreasing audience.
Are you always so upbeat about everything?
In each generation, there are clear decreases in alcohol consumption, with baby boomers from 1946 and 1964 being the highest drinkers in terms of quantities, through to Gen X, millennials down to Gen Z, who are now at legal drinking age. which hopefully doesn't make you feel too old. Less and less is being drunk, and while great strides have been made in moving away from the stuffy image of whiskey being an old man's drink, it will still take a lot to bring in a younger audience. Brands like Chivas Regal are really adapting to a new generation of whiskey drinkers, and I would also say that Johnnie Walker are adapting with the times too. For example, the new bottle release of Black Ruby, a cheaper blend focused on the cocktail crowd. It's also pretty decent neat. The upside is with quantity being less, it may lead to a focus on quality, which is a huge thing. I've seen it as a millennial who works in marketing. The drive for authenticity and products made with passion. It could lure more away from your lagers and alcopops into the whiskey side. Is WKD still a thing? It was everywhere growing up.
Sorry, love, can't wait.
Of course, another reason why each generation is drinking less, and a huge dent of it comes down to money. Everything is a bit down and out at the moment, and enjoying alcohol is a luxury and a hobby. I know if I wasn't supported by my awesome patrons and channel members, this is a luxury I wouldn't be able to dive in so deep, and would certainly be on a no more bottles ban. Thank you. You're awesome. Got my eye on you. So while we will have less pocket money kicking around, we are also dealing with the enshittification, and also the market has swung the other way and leaned into premiumisation. That was a lot of big sounding words. We know Macallan mark themselves as a premium product, as do the heavily fake tanned Dalmore with a hefty price tag, and others are now following suit. Glendronach is no longer being a well-loved staple for enthusiasts, but a bit of a dust collector on shelves with big price labels on the front. Johnnie Walker has always leaned into this with their blue label releases, a premium blend made up of premium malts demanding a premium price. Overpriced. Not only has the price of Blue Label increased by about 35% over the last few years, more Diageo products are entering that golden elitist circle. Lagavulin's iconic bottle of the 16-year-old release, so much love for it when I first got into whiskey. I still love the drink now, and it was always amazing value at under 50 quid. Dare I say it was too good a price? It now sits around £85, until Amazon needs to clear room and flogs it at 65, which I think is a much more acceptable price point for it. Even their entry bottle of the 8-year-old now is 53 quid. Then we get to Talisker. I have gone on so much about the Talisker price increases, I don't want to keep saying it. Check out the Whisky Loch video for that. But the 10-year-old is now 53 quid at RRP, and the well-loved 18-year-old, the bottle I regret not grabbing, is now sitting at 200 quid. It's just wild. But to bring it back and focus on the good bits, with these bottles not selling so well, the odd discount appears. I managed to grab the 2022 special edition Lagavulin at 60 quid, following falling in love with it on the Aquavitae blind tasting a couple years back. This 57.3% ABV beauty. Though this does tie in with my final point, reputation. Now with this, facts are sprinkled in to make me sound intelligent, but it is my opinion on it. And with that, my opinion is that they've damaged their reputation. I feel like this has gone a bit Ralphie. Having these bottles hang around on the shelf for years before being reduced to clear is not a good look, especially when other annual releases from other brands fly off the shelf year by year. The heightened price increases have left a bitter taste amongst consumers. I know folk who bought their quarterly Talisker 10 from Tesco's just stopped buying it altogether, and I know that's not a drop in the ocean, but it just shows the damage of brand loyalty, which the whiskey industry relied on for years. Then from an enthusiast view, the Diageo bottles often don't get a lot of love, as they just don't connect with us. Often bottom level ABV with added colour for consistency in the international market, it is not for us nerds, and that's fine. Johnnie Walker Red Label still shifts millions of bottles worldwide, so they don't need to connect with the passionate drinkers who spread the word in our circles. So is this the end of Diageo? Has Talisker tanked? Lagavulin lost it? Guinness gone bye-bye? No, far from it. I think now we'll be entering a period of more belt tightening and streamlining and other LinkedIn political words. Maybe some releases disappearing off the shelves, maybe some distilleries pausing, but I think A company this size will survive the storm. It is more the smaller independent distilleries who will struggle. But to round it off on a positive note, they are also doing things right. The Johnnie Walker Experience in Edinburgh is a brilliant marketing tool to bring in new drinkers and reinforce their brand. Recently visited this and I'll be covering it in the next video, so subscribe to make sure you're notified of that. And while their increased prices don't reflect it, they are leaning towards a younger, more inclusive audience, and cocktails and relaxed drinking are being promoted on the main pages. And most importantly, while you can, grab a reduced bottle of something special. Today's mispronounced shoutouts from Patreon to Yamas Sloan, Freya NK Giruts, and Barai Siulan. And with that, grateful to have you here. All the best and cheers to the next one.